money here. This will be my first fishing video. I live in Utah and it's late April, so she's probably not going to be that great because I'm going bass fishing. It's kind of cold. Yesterday there was a big storm anyways, so it's probably not going to be that great, but we'll see. Just going to go fish Kaysville Pond, just a local pond, mainly stocked with trout, but it does have largemouth bass in it. I tried fishing it yesterday, got 3 bites, and then I caught a trout on a bass lure. That was interesting. But so today I'm going to try something a little different. Yesterday I tried plastics, basically a crawfish Texas rig. Today I'm going to try jerkbait, so see what happens. Here at Kaysville Pond, got my shad wrap jerkbait. It's got some new line. Probably have to adjust this reel, but we'll see. Oh, that cast is pretty good. Again, I'm not super hopeful I'll catch anything. Just had a big storm. I'm sure the fish have shut down. I was having problems with this reel, so I cleaned it, got some new line. Just need to adjust the brakes, maybe see if I can cast farther, but so far it seems to cast them pretty well, so not back spooling. Gonna fish this super slow. Probably end up catching a trout instead of a bass again, and if it's anything like yesterday was. Caught a bass out of here a few years back. It's probably like a 2-pounder, but you could see him swimming around schools. But I haven't seen anything yet this year. Again, it's super early. Water temperature is probably like 50 degrees is my guess, so they're probably still just sitting in the deep channels. I'm going to fish for a bit, see if I get any action. Say this, I've never used braid line before, but I'm really liking this. It casts really well. I got the Shimano Stika 201E. It's an old reel, but man, it's casting good. And I'm using a Shimano Crucial, just 6'6" rod, a shorter rod, medium heavy, but so far so good. No bites though, no action. Just saw a turtle. I didn't even know there's turtles in here. So I don't know where the bass would be in this lake. I'm not a professional bass fisherman by any means, or fisherman at all, which might be interesting to you guys, because just, watching amateur videos, people trying to figure it out. This lake isn't very deep, and from what I understand, usually bass, when it's cold, they go into the deep channels, the old riverbeds of lakes, and sit there. I don't think this really has an old riverbed, so I'm guessing they're either just sitting in the deep, or maybe they're buried in the vegetation, kind of hiding. I don't know. I haven't seen any bass, but so far nothing. Just casting, reeling it in. So, well, I just lost my jerkbait. Caught on some reeds. This braided 20-pound line, thought it was indestructible, and it probably is. If I would tie a good knot, I guess. Or knot came undone. So I'm going to look for a stick and see if I can get it back, because that's the only lure I bought, and I don't want to buy a new one, so keep you posted. Check it out. Got it. Now I gotta tie a better knot this time. So I usually use the fisherman's knot. That's basically the only knot I know, other than the surgeon's knot tie line together. I think I'm gonna do some research on best knots for braided line after this, that's for sure. Because that just won't work if I gotta set the hook on a big fish and it just comes undone because of my knot. That would be depressing. Or lose a $15 bait or lure. See, look at that. Well, we'll see if I can get this figured out. So, thank you phone and internet. I'm going to try this Rapala loop knot. See how this goes. Sorry, you guys probably can't really see what I'm doing. Well, it's a huge ass. I think I'm gonna try that again. Problem is, I don't have a fucking knife on me. Figure something out. Lesson 1: braid line. Always have a knife. Always have a knife. I'm gonna walk pond a little bit, see if I can spot any fish. Here's how my knot turned out. Look at that big tail right there. Gonna have to practice that. Definitely have a knife next time. Figured I better have a little bit of footage of me actually fishing. Here's what I'm doing. I'm casting across this pond to the reeds across the way with this braid line, this reel, man. I can cast across this whole freaking pond. I'm just slowly bringing it in. Snag. Just jerk it a couple times, then just let it sit. Figure if the bass are going to take it, they're not going to be super aggressive, so I think I'm hung up on something. Let's see. Yeah, I got a bunch of weeds. I like watching the action of this lure though in the water. Looks pretty cool. Oh, I almost cast too far right there. Still not very good with the bait caster yet, but later this season I'll get my pontoon boat out, my little float tube pontoon boat. It's hard to, fish plastics and stuff with the bait cast without being able to stand up, but I'm going to try and hit muskie a lot this year at Pineview. There's also a bunch of smallies over by the dam I'll probably go for. Hopefully here in a month the crappie will be spawning. Have an episode of that. We'll probably do a lot of Pineview fishing this year. It's close to my house. I got little kids, so I can't be out all day. But I'm not just a bass fisherman. I do any type of fishing. I love fly fishing. Last year I hit fly fishing a lot. This year I think I can do bass a lot. This backpacking trip I'm doing in the Uintas here in a little bit will be for brookies. Depending on how much my bag weighs, I'm going to take both my fly rod and a spinner reel. I got the Eagle Claw 4-piece spinner reel, so I can break that down. really well, but you know, I'd prefer fly fishing for trout over spinner. It's just more fun. Even fly fish for bass before, that's pretty fun. It's just hard to get deep in the weeds to get the big ones with the fly rod, so I actually prefer plastics. Hopefully this year I can do a trip to Pelican Lake. That place is the place for bass in Utah. I mean, it's just a little lake in the middle of nowhere in farm country, completely covered in reeds. In fact, we used to not wear waders in our float tubes, and the water's so stagnant it got swimmer's itch. A bunch of bugs ate our legs, so you'll have to wear waders if I go, but you know, that's where I caught the biggest bass. In fact, I think my YouTube picture should be of that bass I caught. It was probably a 4 to 5 pounder. You know, which isn't huge, but in Utah it is. Utah being a desert, you either get high mountain lakes with trout or the lower lakes just filled with warm water fish, and they're either so huge without a boat you can't, it's hard to pinpoint the big ones. You know, Pelican's so small I can fish the whole thing with my float tube, and so that's my best chance of catching big bass, Pelican. Whoa! That wasn't a fish, I just got hung up, so. Alright, I'm going to continue on. Well, I pretty much walked the length of this pond and didn't see one sign of a bass, didn't even get a bite. Makes me think they're still in the deep, just sitting there. You know, probably need a couple more weeks of good sunshine to really get them to come active and start their spawn. Probably do a few more casts in the deep before I go, but kind of a crappy episode 1, sorry. You know, learn some things. Learn a new knot, I don't know. I'm going to look at some other knots too, just in case, but you can always have a knife. Well, that wraps her up. Episode 1 complete. Sucky episode, sorry. But it goes like that sometimes. See ya, dumpies.